Today we're going to be showing you how to put together this storage shed from Hutton Garden products. We're going to show you how to construct it properly, but then also to explain the importance of how to protect your timber properly so that it lasts a lifetime. Before you apply any kind of wood stain, paint or oil to a timber product, there are some important things that you need to consider. The first thing, and probably one of the most important things, is to make sure that the timber is clean and dry. Now to clean it, you can simply use warm soapy water and a scouring pad. But this is nice and clean, so we don't have to do that. Next, remove any kind of surface dirt from the surface. Just use a scrubbing brush and that'll get rid of anything on there. So before applying any kind of wood paint, stain or oil, you have to make sure that the timber is fully dry. Ideally, it has to be below 28% moisture content. So you look at these two panels here, look exactly the same, look pretty dry. That one, dry to the touch. This one feels a little bit moist, so we're going to make sure. So stick this probe in here, and it's in the green zone, 14% moisture content. So that's good and ready to paint. So now we're going to test this piece. And it's right into the red zone. It's actually 60% moisture content, so there's no way you can paint this yet. Otherwise, it just simply won't fix and work properly. Not everyone has one of these hanging around at home, so you could just put a sharp object into the timber, and you can see there when the moisture is coming out. So the amount of weathering time you need to allow depends very much on the chemicals that the manufacturer uses and also the production processes that they employ. With some people, they recommend leaving it to weather for a couple of months, otherwise if you paint it too quickly, then when the preservative chemicals expire out, they can damage the coating. With Hutton Garden products, they use tannalized timber. It's been treated with Tanalith E. With these chemicals, the beauty of it is that you don't have to let it weather. You can just treat this timber straight away. We've chosen this spot here because Hutton recommend that you don't build it on top of grass with any surrounding vegetation or with any overhanging trees. So the construction's been really quick and easy so far, and you can just see the quality of this product. The timber that Hutton use is just fantastic. The preservation chemicals are all the way through to the cut ends. The T&G sections are put together so nice and tightly as well. So this is the shed constructed now. It's made using pressure treated timber, but it doesn't offer any water repellency at all. Now, Hutton use tannalized timber, and the chemical treatment is Tanalith E, which gives 15 years protection against rot and insect attack. So what we need to do next to make sure it's fully protected for the lifetime is to add a high quality water repellent coating. So you can see that this shed is in quite a sunny, exposed position, and the sun's UV rays are going to grey and weather this timber pretty quickly. So to stop that from happening and to keep this lovely, freshly tannalized timber look, I'm going to use a wood oil with UV blockers in it, and they'll stop the UV rays from greying and weathering the timber. And I'm also going to use a dark oak colour on the trims, just to add a bit of contrast and interest to it. So on the interior, I'm going to be using the dark oak as well on the floor, and then on the walls I'm going to be using two different whites just to brighten up the interior and give it a lovely country cottage feel. Now, just before we paint, it's good practice to do a final check over on the surface. So things like here where you can see the chemical residue, you need to remove that, otherwise your wood stain or oil or paint won't stitch the timber properly. So you can just use a scouring pad and just lightly rub it off, and it's gone very easily. Now you can apply this oil by either using a roller, a brush or a sprayer, but you can get a lot of wastage with sprayers, so personally I prefer to use a really good quality brush. Now these have been specifically designed by Harris for use with wood stains, oils, varnishes, so this is what I'm going to be using. So you need to give it a really good thorough stir to make sure that everything is completely mixed in. And shaking the tin just isn't good enough, you have to stir it. And try and do it for about 30 seconds. Get a good amount onto the brush, not too much that it slops and drips everywhere. Let's start at the top of the building and work it all the way in to the gaps. and make sure you do nice, even strokes following down the length of the grain. And now the clear coating's on, it's time to get the dark oak. I'm going to be very careful loading the brush with this because I don't want to be dripping dark oak stain all over my nice clear shed. So same as before, nice gentle even strokes. And again you can just see it soaking into that wood. And now that the outside of the shed's had its first coat, we can move on to doing the whitewash on the inside. So what I'm doing now is literally just slapping on the whitewash. We've left the first coat of the wood oil to dry for 24 hours and there hasn't been any rain overnight. There's no rain expected for the next 48 hours, so we're ready to get on with the second coat. So on the interior of the shed, we've only painted the one coat. And as you can see, it's soaked right into the timber, leaving this lovely translucent coating. Now do remember that obviously being translucent, you are going to see some of the colour from underneath. So here you see a tiny bit of the tannalised green coming through, but you also get all the lovely knots and the grain as well. Now one tip to remember is that if you love the look that only one coat gives you, then you can put on a top coat of clear to give it the 2-coat protection that you need. So natural UV extra clear just enhances the colour of the timber and it enriches the lovely green of the tannalised wood, and it creates a really pretty sheen which just softens and dies down as the oils fix. Now with Restol Wood Oil, the second coat also builds up this protective film coating on the top of the surface. So now we've moved around to the back of the shed where we're just doing the second coat on the dark oak. And as you can see, the second coat just really intensifies and deepens the colour. And here we are with the finished result. Now I'm absolutely delighted with the results. The wood oil has soaked completely into the timber and then built up a coating on the top, which is going to provide some great protection, water repellency, and also the UV blockers inside the clear coating are going to stop the timber from greying and weathering. Now the coating should last for about 2 to 3 years, depending on the levels of wear and tear and exposure. As soon as it starts to degrade, all you have to do is apply one single maintenance coat. The fact that the shed is made from tannalised timber means that we only had to put 2 coats of the UV Natural Extra Clear onto it, so we hardly use any product. The coverage is fantastic. On the inside we just use the 1 coat of the whitewash because it's not there for protection, it's just there to look pretty, just to brighten it up, give it a nice country cottage feel, and then also to contrast with the dark oak on the trim and the dark oak on the floor. So all in all, a beautiful product to use and a lovely finished shed.